What's next for the Seattle Mariners? Find out more in today's video. So as we all know, Jerry and team got to work a few days ago making two big trades for us. And when I say big trade, I'm not talking about big blockbuster trade for us. I'm saying in terms of how it helped fill out our lineup. But truly, after these moves, what is next for the Seattle Mariners? They can go so many different routes, but it's a matter of how they're actually going to approach the situation. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what Jerry DiPoto said on a Friday conference call, as well as what my opinion on the whole thing is. Per Ken Rosenthal, he says that the Mariners are still hoping to acquire an infielder. This is hopefully to make the club less reliant on certain guys like Luis Urias and Josh Rojas, who, as we know, are currently projected to start at third and second base this season. And Ken Rosenthal has mentioned that Seattle would like to add a reliever as well. So that's kind of just a little bit of background on kind of how they are going to approach the rest of this offseason. And to kind of give you a little bit of Jerry's words, he had said in that Friday conference call that he believes the moves they made were positive moves and that they are really satisfied with what it looks like right now, and that the roster is definitely more complete than it was at the beginning of the offseason, which I do have to agree with. I definitely think the lineup is much more complete than it was even a few days ago. I think Luke Raley really helps fill out this lineup more, and I do think a Mitch Haniger definitely helps fill out this lineup more, but again, that kind of goes back to the what if Mitch is actually healthy. And then also, before I get into some moves that they could possibly make, Jerry had also said that he doesn't think that the Seattle Mariners are done, and we have certainly found the desire to find ways to get better. And he had also said they definitely have that flexibility from a roster standpoint to go and make more moves. But one thing that kind of stands out about this statement is he didn't say flexibility in terms of payroll, he said flexibility in terms of roster. So he thinks that they have the roster flexibility to go out and make certain trades and fill different holes, but not necessarily go out and sign big free agents. Which, as we all know, that's been the biggest problem within the Mariner fan base, is that John Stanton refuses to help them spend. There's been a few discrepancies of how much money the Mariners really do have to spend the rest of this offseason. The number has kind of been fluctuating between 15 to 25 million left to use this offseason, which, based on some of Jerry's comments, it seems like they may be saving some of that for in-season trades or acquisitions, which I don't know if I'm a big fan of, because again, we need to go out and win now, and kind of wasting a half a season to go see what this lineup can do is kind of a waste, when you can kind of just go out and sign that big name bat that you need to go out and fix this lineup even more. But speaking of that big name bat, what even are the options for the Seattle Mariners right now? So in my personal opinion, the biggest hole is third base. I know this kind of goes back and forth between Mariner fans, whether it's second base, whether it's third base, whether it's maybe even another corner outfielder. But to be honest, I'm fully comfortable with this outfield right now. I think they definitely are arguably a little bit better than last year's outfield in terms of especially defense. On the offensive side, again, it's one of those what-if moments. If Luke, Julio, Mitch, and Dom were our four outfielders going into the season, I'd be comfortable with that. So to me, I'm going to focus on third base right now because I personally think that's the biggest hole that we have. And to be honest, there is a few different ways they can approach this situation. And let's just start with kind of the obvious one that a lot of Mariner fans have been talking about, is by signing Matt Chapman. To my knowledge, I believe Matt Chapman is looking for a longer term deal, about 3 to 5 years, somewhere in there. And he probably has about a 25 million AAV. Which, to be honest, I'm not paying Matt Chapman anything over $15 million. While yes, he's probably one of the best defensive third basemen in the league, his bat just doesn't stand out enough for me to give him an extra $25 million when we could have just re-signed Teo, and he's a much better bat than Matt Chapman is right now. So that's option number one, is just go out and get free agent Matt Chapman. And now there's about 3 trades I kind of want to talk about with you guys that can kind of fluctuate who's playing third base. So this first one's kind of a little bit more of an obvious one, is to go acquire Isaac Paredes from the Tampa Bay Rays. And I totally see how Mariner fans are skeptical about Isaac Paredes' production. If you look at his Baseball Savant page, it is not very good. And to be honest, I don't know if it would play at T-Mobile. But to me, I'm not really looking so much into his home run factor as much as that he just simply produces other ways. So even if you take 5 to 10 home runs off his stat sheet compared to last year, he'll still produce in terms of RBIs and batting average. He's an outstanding bat-to-ball hitter, which is something that stands out, especially because he's so pull-heavy. So that's another option that the Mariners have, is to go out and trade for him, maybe using guys like Emerson Hancock and some prospects. But who knows, because we acquired Luke Raley for Jose Caballero, so I don't know what's going on in the Rays' head. But it's definitely something that the Mariners could go out and do if they really wanted. And acquiring him definitely does make up your lineup better, whether you like him or not. So the next trade that I have in mind is going out and getting Jorge Polanco from the Minnesota Twins. So by going out and acquiring Polanco, this essentially moves Urias and Rojas to platoon at third base. And it was mistaken that I did say in a past video that you'd only get 1 year of Jorge Polanco. I do believe it is 2 years, so he would be a free agent after the 2025 season. So to me, I definitely see this worth it, especially if you get 2 years out of him. He's a veteran bat that can play second base, and he's a very good average guy as well in terms of batting average. And this kind of sends Rojas back to his comfortable position, which is third base. And again, it's a guy that definitely helps improve your lineup on a day-to-day basis and gives you a little bit more of that veteran presence, as we are a very young team. I think Jorge Polanco is definitely on a lot of Mariner fans' radar right now. The Twins need pitching just like most teams in the MLB do, and you can still kind of use guys like Emerson Hancock and maybe like a Dylan Moore or a Sam Haggerty in that trade as well. As much as I like the both of them, I don't really know what kind of role they're going to have this year. It's probably just going to be the similar role that they've always had, is just kind of fluctuating in and out of certain positions and helping giving guys off days. So out of all the ones I mentioned so far, I think Jorge Polanco might be my favorite, because I'm a big Isaac Paredes fan, so it's kind of close there, but I think Jorge Polanco would definitely be more beneficial in terms of glove and veteran presence. But the last trade that the Mariners could also pull off if they truly wanted to is getting Max Kepler from the Minnesota Twins. Now you're kind of asking yourself, why another outfielder instead of just filling the third base hole? I have seen this trade all over Twitter, and I'm not really sure if I'm a huge fan of the Max Kepler acquisition, only because you'd probably be giving up Ty France to get him in the first place. And again, I am a firm believer that Ty France will have a bounce back year this season, so to me, it's kind of a trade-off. But essentially, with acquiring Kepler, you put Kepler in the outfield and move Luke Raley over to first base. And again, to me, this is just kind of a wash trade, because at the end of the day, you're trading a starting bat in our lineup for another starting bat in our lineup. And to me, it just really doesn't make much sense. I could definitely see why Max Kepler stands out on people's radar. So these are kind of the 4 trades that I had come up with my head, or possible acquisition of Max Chapman. The problem is there's really not that many infielders that stand out to me on the market. I'm going to post on the screen right now what Mariners Sir posted on Twitter, and it's kind of a list of all the infield free agents there are right now. So as you can see, it's guys like Ahmed Rosario, Justin Turner, Tim Anderson, Gio Urshela, Whit Merrifield, etc. You can look at the rest of the list, or possibly an Adam Frazier and Colton Wong reunion. Please, absolutely not, Jerry. But this is kind of what they're working with in terms of free agent infielders. So like I said, nothing truly stands out to me. Maybe Justin Turner, but in terms of his defensive side, I'm not really sure. I would take his bat, because his bat would definitely help improve our lineup. But having him kind of as an everyday third baseman, I don't really know how that would work out. And I have seen a lot of people talk about Tim Anderson as well. He's kind of another one that's kind of just a toss-up of whether he'll be good this year or not. And to be honest, as a Mariners fan, I'm really getting tired of the what-if guys. I just want us to go out and acquire a guy that we know will produce day in and day out. And the one other thing that the Mariners are, as we discussed, talking about is getting another pit relief pitcher. There are a few options out there, like Aroldis Chapman, Josh Hader, and some few other guys that stand out. But let's be real, we're not getting Josh Hader. That's just facts. But I do think going out and getting another solid arm in the back of the bullpen is definitely going to be helpful to guys like Justin Topa, Andres Munoz, Matt Brash, and just kind of takes the load off them a little bit, because last season they did get beat up a lot, and we relied on them in way too many games last season, which made them tired by the time the end of the season rolled around. So I definitely love the idea of adding a reliever to the squad. I just personally think the priority needs to get one more bat in here, because as I am a little bit more comfortable with the current lineup now, I do think just adding one more solid bat really takes us over that edge of whether we'll be second or third in the division or first. Because again, at the end of the day, we're relying on a lot of what-ifs with Mitch and Mitch. We're relying on what-ifs from Luis Urias. There's truly just too many guys we have to rely on what-ifs for, and I don't personally like that. So please just go out and get one more bat that we know will play and is healthy. So let me know what you guys think the Mariners should do with the rest of the offseason. I think they definitely have options, just a matter of whether they're going to go out and do them or not. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.